Many creators want to make creating content their career. Many creators love to stream, love to make videos, but anything that might support that endeavor to make that their full-time job, such as brand deals, entering affiliate programs, things like that, many creators avoid like the plague, but they still say that they want content creation to be their full-time job. If you want to make it your full-time job, you have to treat it like one. So today, we're going to be discussing ways to monetize your content without brand deals. To preface this, there's one extremely important distinction to be made. If you're a content creator and you don't care about making it your full-time job, you just do it for fun, or any other hobby for fun for that matter, you shouldn't feel pressured to try to turn it into a job. Not everything needs to be a job, and some hobbies can be done strictly for the joy of it. Any hobby can be done for the joy of it. But if your goal is to make content creation into your career, then it is vital that you learn how to make money, because jobs are all about making money. The benefit is that if it's content creation, you probably get to do what you love as well. So let's get into monetizing your content without brand deals. I actually just wrote a blog post on this exact topic. You can see this my blog post right here. That's andycormier.blog. If you'd like to take this tutorial at your own pace or have easier access to links, all of that, just go ahead, check that out. It's on andycormier.blog. So you want to make money as a creator. You might make substantial income from, let's say, your ad revenue, your subs, your followers, whatever. But that's not the only way to make revenue, and nor are brand deals. In fact, there are many ways you can monetize yourself. Let's discuss 5 different ways to monetize your content without brand deals. Number 1, use your platform. Earn YouTube partnership and get ad revenue, or get Twitch affiliate to get Twitch subscribers. Honestly, this income is by far the most sustainable, the most reliable, and the most important when it comes to being a content creator. If you're creating content on a platform, and you're monetized on that platform, the monetization of that platform should probably be the bulk of your income. It's most important to focus on developing your primary platforms, because the better established your brand, your message, and your core content concept, the more effective everything else that I'll be discussing becomes. And if your audience is more connected to you, they'll trust your recommendations for products even more. That brings us to number 2, try affiliate programs. I know I mentioned in one of my previous #GetSponsored videos that affiliate programs are often one of the biggest red flags for brand deals, but the thing is, if an affiliate program is something you can simply sign up for and there's no requirements, and you are simply allowed to promote as much or as little as you want and get a cut of it, then they're amazing. The bad side is if there's a brand deal that has posting requirements, any requirements for work for you to do, but only pays you after you've made sales. So that's the distinction. But affiliate programs are one of the best ways to add additional monetization to your content. I'm a living example of this. In a bunch of my previous videos, especially about ocarinas, I recommend some of the best starter ocarinas, which happen to be available from Amazon. And I include affiliate links. And because of those affiliate links, as well as stuff I've put more recently, I average between $10 and $20 a month from affiliate revenue at a 3% cut from Amazon sales. To join Amazon Associates, go to affiliate-program.amazon.com and you're able to sign up. I put those links in there once. I made irrelevant product recommendations in videos. Like, for example, it's extremely valuable for me to talk about what's the best starter ocarina. And then it's even more valuable for me to direct people to where they can buy it. Because if someone thinks, man, the Knight by Noble, that's the best starter ocarina for me. If that's their thought process, then if I just put a link in there, I'm saving them the time by searching for it for them. And then they click it and I get a little cut from that. A very tiny cut, but a cut nevertheless. And at this point, quite a substantial cut. If it's $36 a month, that is almost as much as I make from ad revenue on YouTube alone. So don't sleep on affiliate programs. There's a lot of other affiliate programs. Almost any site you can think of has affiliate programs, but some of the most noteworthy ones would be eBay, B&H, Humble Bundle, and then a lot of other sites have like referrals where if you refer people to sign up, then you get something as well. So for example, Robinhood, Webull, and other investing platforms often have some sort of referral bonus if you refer people. Pretty much any site you could think of has an affiliate program, but I would recommend most that you go to Amazon's because that is by far the easiest to manage, easiest to use because everyone has Amazon. and just super low friction. I just go to an Amazon page and I can, if I find a product, I can just click, get a link, and then I get credit for anything that I sell. It's so useful. Affiliate programs are arguably the most passive way to add monetization to your content. But next up, we'll be discussing more active ways to do so. That brings us to number 3. Use what you already do and find overlaps between other work and the content you create. So this is a lot more conceptual than direct monetization, but we'll start with a quick story. I recently started a freelance writing role at makeuseof.com, primarily writing articles about tutorials, technology, things like that. And my focus is mostly on Macs, MacBooks, productivity, things like that. I get paid per article, but by design, I'm planning almost every article to be at least somewhat relevant to my YouTube content. So for example, in the most recent workshop that I did, which is all about using an M1 Mac for streaming, I wrote that as an article. And basically, the research and writing that I do at Make Use Of, it creates a legitimate product in and of itself because I'm writing an article for a website and the website profits off of that. But the research, preparation, writing, and organization of my thoughts can then be used again to make another piece of original content, that being the streamed workshop, followed by turning that into a video. Furthermore, I'm encouraged to promote the articles that I write and any content that I have. And if more people read the articles, then I get a little bit of cut of that ad revenue as well. So effectively, I am getting paid to do research and preparation and organization for content by doing those same tasks for an employer as well. Moving away from the more direct doubling my preparation work, my whole #GetSponsored series of content, all of that is based off of the experience that I developed working on influencer brand deals while at AverMedia. I adopted ownership of the influencer partnership program, as well as many other responsibilities related to brand deals after one of my predecessors quit. Because of that, I learned a lot of the things that companies consider when organizing brand deals with creators, and I thought, there aren't very many resources that consider the company perspective in how creators can get brand deals. So I'd like to bring that perspective and help creators get brand deals to #GetSponsored. If you're not a tech geek like me, if you're not like in a community management or influencer relations, here are some additional ideas. Most Twitch streamers are gamers, and if you love streaming, let's say, for example, new indie games, see if sites like PC Gamer or other places like that want authors for reviews, guides, or things like that. You get to make content from streaming the game, and that's like you're developing your bond with your audience, you're playing the game, which is fun, and you're making your content, which is the stream or videos based off of that stream. And then in addition to that, because you played through the game, because you understand it, because you've had discussions about the game with your audience, you can translate all of that effort to write reviews and guides for another employer. So basically, any type of journalism topic you can simultaneously make content around, or having a job and taking that experience into what the content that you make, you can find a lot of overlaps and save yourself a lot of work from content to work or work to content. Another example, let's say you are an employee at some company and you're doing computer science. You could use what you learned from the job to make content. So for example, you can make tutorials, interview prep, day in the life vlogs, solutions for specific problems, interview other people in the industry, and that helps both your career and your content. So this framework can apply to any industry. And that's, again, exactly how I started my #GetSponsored content, using my experience with influencer relations at AverMedia, converting that into content that's useful to those same creators. The one consideration you must keep in mind for this type of thing, of overlapping content and work, is that you absolutely don't want to lose your job over this. So, for example, if your employer has any policies on things like owning your work, plagiarism, non-disclosure agreements, anything like that, be absolutely sure that you are not breaking any of those policies. So with the example of Make Use Of, as I was getting hired, I discussed with the hiring person, like, hey, is it okay if I make YouTube videos on the same topics as the articles that I write? And they said like, oh, that's totally fine. The only thing is you can't promote those videos in your articles, but you're absolutely free and encouraged to promote the articles in your videos. So before you do anything that's doubling down on your work and your content, make sure that you're not breaking any rules and risking losing your job. The whole point of the finding overlaps is not necessarily this is extra monetization, but rather than making more money, you are working less, which is in effect making more money because you're making more time. Something you can do with that time is number 4, sponsor yourself by making your own products or services. You can sponsor yourself. So instead of promoting somebody else's product or services, you could promote your own. If you want to learn more about brand deals, check out my video on types of brand deals. It's the second in the Get Sponsored playlist. Lots of creators make stuff like merch, and that merch can include like clothes, bags, bottles, things like that. But that's honestly way too generic. Let's consider far more relevant examples that are more based on your core competencies as a creator rather than just selling merch. If you're a musician, there's so many options to increase your monetization via Spotify, selling albums, selling tickets, or anything like that. If you're an expert on a subject or just extremely well-researched on something like that, you might write an ebook or make a reasonably priced course. Like for example, YouTube of course has its ad revenue, but if you can make a really useful course for like Skillshare, that gives you a lot better CPM, cost per mil. You'll make more money per views from that. Similarly, you can make courses or anything like that, but make sure that course is worthwhile or that book is worthwhile. Influencer courses and influencer books often have a really bad reputation because a lot of them are just poopy garbage, for lack of a better term. So if you're making a course or writing a book, make sure that it's absolutely worthwhile. If you have the skills and you can do something that's better or different or better targeted than something that already exists, go for it. Similarly, if you're an expert at a more practical skill, you can become a coach or a teacher and get paid for that online. There are so many platforms where you can do that. I have friends who are really good at Super Smash Brothers, and they coach on Metafy, which is a platform for esports, fighting games, basically any type of gaming. So my friends Rickles and Egaz use Metafy as esports coach. They make some side income from that just by offering their services as coaches. Whether that's a game, a sport, an instrument, or any other skill, coaching and teaching are all extremely viable services. Last, if you're an artist, sell your art. Sell prints, sell digital goods, and you can promote them. So my friend Big Creates, he's made this really cool holographic Spiritomb art piece. So here's just a quick little video. First off, he's advertising it on Etsy, but just a quick note, Etsy took down his account, so we don't like Etsy anymore. But like, just look how cool that is. That's completely practical effects. There's no digital effects on that Spiritomb whatsoever. It's all practical. Super cool. So this is just an example. You can make something, you can sell something, you can offer a service and sponsor yourself. He's currently switching from Etsy to I believe BigCartel. So I'll update the link in the blog, and in the video, I'll update the link for that. One creator who I follow who's really effective at the selling goods category is this YouTuber named Better Creating, who talks about productivity and primarily talks about how to use the application Notion, which I use. He sells a lot of products on Gumroad. He made icons and shortcuts and a whole profile for using Notion with a Stream Deck. And I downloaded that because I use Notion and I have a Stream Deck and I use it for productivity. Watch that video. Like, there are so many ways you can monetize your content. It all adds value to your audience. If the product is worthwhile, then it's worth selling. If it's not worthwhile, then don't sell it. You don't need to get sponsored by a brand to get sponsored. You can provide a product or a service and promote yourself. Remember, you are not exploiting your audience by asking them to buy something. In fact, your audience, if they really enjoy your content and they feel really connected to you as a creator, they probably want to financially support you in some way, shape, or form. Don't manipulate and don't overcharge your audience. Charge more than you think you should, but don't overcharge, if that makes sense. This whole point that we're talking about is that your audience probably wants to support you financially. While you can receive financial support from your audience through products and services, you can also simply ask them to be patrons. Number 5, gather patrons. On that note of audience financial support, sometimes you don't necessarily even need to offer a product or service for your fans to offer their patronage. This is why platforms like Patreon exist. And Patreon isn't the only platform that offers audience support. So for example, there's YouTube channel memberships, Twitch subscriptions, super follows on Twitter. Many platforms that you can create on have built-in ways for audiences to support you more. There are other platforms similar to Patreon, such as Ko-Fi. It's 0 fees. You can basically just ask your audience to support you financially. If your audience has money to spare and they really like your content, and your content has given them a lot of value over the time that they've watched you, then honestly, a lot of your audience members probably will want to support you. Again, audiences want to support creators. Sometimes platforms like Patreon, of course, you can ask for like just a couple dollars and not offer anything in return. But there's a lot of major things to consider if you do make a Patreon or anything like that. You absolutely need to uphold the expectations that you give your audience when they sign up for these types of platforms. For example, if you have a Patreon, will you be offering your audience any extremely exclusive content or rewards for paying you on a monthly basis? Especially like different tiers. So if you are making anything, can you manage that workload consistently? Are the rewards and content worth the price of admission? And is the whole premise of your membership just to support you financially, or is it to receive these extra rewards? Because for example, a lot of creators have a Patreon where they charge like $1, where if you just pay $1, you support the creator and that's that. $5, the main point is still supporting the creator, but they might offer like behind the scenes stuff, a bit of extra content, unfinished videos, things like that. But you need to make it very clear whether or not the point of your Patreon, Ko-Fi, YouTube membership, or whatever, just giving your audience a way to financially support you, or if the goal is for them to receive additional content. So you just need to make that extremely clear. If it's just to financially support you, is the content you make on your free platforms consistent and quality enough to warrant people wanting to pay you? Let's say you make a Patreon and people are paying X dollars per month under the assumption that they're gonna get like one video per week. You probably want to uphold those expectations. Next, are you comfortable asking your audience for money at all? It's perfectly acceptable to say, no, I'm not comfortable asking my audience for money if I'm not going to be offering them like a product or service in return. And you can opt out of that. And then third, if you have multiple membership platforms, will these groups be treated differently? So will it, for example, do your Twitch subscribers get different benefits than your YouTube channel members? And do your YouTube channel members have different access to content than your Patreon people? So basically, will your different forms of membership get the same rewards and content? And if you're using multiple platforms, like if you have YouTube memberships and Patreon, is there an incentive at all for your followers to pay you on multiple platforms, like different rewards on different platforms? And are these differing incentives worthwhile for your community? I keep wanting to emphasize the point that it's not greedy to ask for money from your audience who wants to support you, but it can be greedy if a follower needs 5 separate paid memberships to fully feel like they're supporting you. So just keep that all in mind. While your audience might love to financially support you, you need to ensure that the expectations they have surrounding that support are crystal clear. If you make a Patreon and offer monthly exclusive content and then you fail to deliver, your audience will probably be disappointed, even if they would have been completely happy to support you otherwise. Whereas if you make a Patreon and it's just like, hey, pay like $1 or $2 a month and you're supporting me and it makes me happy and I really appreciate it, then that's a completely different expectation. So again, ask your audience to support you. They'll probably be far more open to it than you think. You need to make the expectations your audience will have about that support crystal freaking clear. Dogen, the American creator making content in Japanese, he has a lot of really funny content on YouTube, like showcasing his skills at speaking Japanese. And he promotes his Patreon as a platform where people can receive education to improve their Japanese. So his primary content is for entertainment, whereas his Patreon content is much less algorithm friendly, yet probably meets his purpose a little bit more, to educate people to speak Japanese and learn Japanese better. I just think that's a really cool way to use your Patreon. So of course, both contents are worthwhile. He has clear expectations of what people will receive. Like, one additional note is he talks about how he offers patron exclusive live streams, but he's also very clearly saying like, hey, I have a kid now, so I won't be able to do these on a regular basis for a while. The whole point, make your expectations clear And if you're offering an additional product or service, make it worthwhile. Like in most Japanese textbooks, they don't teach you proper like deep dive pitch pronunciation and things like that. He has an extremely valuable service that I don't think anybody else is offering, and has the knowledge and skills to put it together in an extremely digestible way. So I think that's just a really cool way to use Patreon. We're gonna summarize now. By now, I really hope that you realize this. Your content isn't just content. It's the greatest asset you have in today's digital world. Sponsorships and other brand deals like that can help you improve the value of that asset, but at the end of the day, there are many ways to do it yourself. First and foremost, monetize the platform that you create on. Whether that's YouTube partnership, Twitch subscriptions, whatever, monetization on the platform you create on is often the most reliable form of income as a creator on these platforms. Furthermore, focusing on that platform will help improve everything else, because if your content is better, everything else that you offer is also more easy to promote. Second up, consider affiliate links. So if you frequently recommend products or services in your content, like you don't even need to mention the affiliate link in the video, you can just throw it into the description and you'll get a little bit of extra income from doing the work of finding the products that you recommend for somebody. So if you like say, hey, this is the best starter ocarina, and then I just put that link in the description of my video, so I found it for somebody and I'll get a tiny cut from that. And I've made really consistent money as an Amazon associate over the last couple years from that. Next up, find overlaps. See how other work that you do can be used in generating your content assets, and vice versa. Use the knowledge that you've gained from your career in your content. Next, sponsor yourself. Promote your own products and services. Price them higher than you think you should, but fairly, and make sure the product and service is worthwhile, but honestly, sponsoring yourself will get you so much farther than brand deal sponsorships, as long as you have a product that's worthwhile. Again, it must be a worthwhile product. Your audience will probably want to financially support you anyways, which brings us to the final point. Gather patrons. If your audience wants to financially support your content, give them methods to do so. Make sure your audience knows what to expect from any premium membership or premium content that you have, and that you can live up to those expectations, but you'll be surprised about how much support you can earn from your community. One thing I really want to emphasize, notice that every single point in here has one major commonality going through everything. It is your content. Yeah, I'm pointing at you. I'm pointing at you. Don't underestimate the value of the content you make for free online. And don't underestimate the support that you can receive from it. Everything you make is an asset. Whether you like it or not, every video you have, every stream you make, and every product you sell is all assets to help build your career as a creator. It doesn't take a brand deal to get sponsored. It only takes you. However, if you do want to get sponsored in a brand deal, I highly recommend you watch my video on major factors to consider, or major factors that companies consider when organizing brand deals. It's really eye-opening, and you should really learn how to optimize your online presence to be more professional and more marketable. An important note is if your goal is to make a career online. Click the video right here to watch that video, leave a like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.